If it's Tuesday, it means it's a Jason Sukamel day. And Jason, last week we started talking about the 2027 class, and we talked about the offensive guys, just kind of the must know names. And we're going to do the defensive guys today. But I do want to get back the truck up just a second, Jason, because I started off the show last week by asking you about quarterbacks. And you're like, well, I don't really think there's much to talk about. And then you said, well, if there is a guy, there probably would be Tai, and I think we're saying it Nutson, and I've heard it pronounced many different ways. But you said that might be a guy. Well, lo and behold, that ended up being the guy, right, Jason? So, okay, got it. Tell me, just before we get into the defense, a little bit more about this guy, what we need to know.
Yeah, he committed on Saturday afternoon. And honestly, kind of shame on me on where I probably should have had a commitment story written and in the can, because kind of knew it was probably going that direction. It was just a matter of when. So he's a guy that Texas has been evaluating or had been evaluating. He came to a couple different home games last fall. Texas didn't offer him. And A.J. Milwee actually went out to see him throw in person last fall.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't offer. Well, then Tai goes out and leads his team to their second consecutive state championship, puts up tremendous numbers.
Mm-hmm.
He comes to the junior day, January 17th, gets his offer then. And that's when I was like, this dude might commit before the day's over. Well, he didn't. He said, I'm going to wait a little bit. And he waited a few weeks, and he announced on Saturday he had committed. So he's out of Smithson Valley, just south of Austin. Good frame, 6'3.5", 210 pounds. Obviously, like I said, very productive in terms of, leading his team to a state championship. He sent me his stats. I'll try to find those while I'm talking here. But he's a guy, I put this on Orange Bloods, and people are going to think I'm crazy. I'm not saying he's going to be Colt McCoy, a Heisman finalist. And I'm not saying he's going to be a multi-year player in the NFL, but he kind of has some Colt McCoy in his game.
Okay.
He's tall. He's kind of got a slender frame, which you'll see that fill out over time, of course. He can run like Colt McCoy, especially in college. Colt was pretty elusive and I think a better athlete than people realize. Well, Ty's the same way. Very accurate, can throw the ball downfield with accuracy, makes really good decisions. Like if I look at his stats here last year, 193 of 298, so 65% completions, 2,600, a little over 2,600 yards, 29 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions on Anwar. So again, very smart, very accurate.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, 232 yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground. So I like this pickup for Texas. He's a 3-star guy by 24/7. He's not ranked by ESPN. He's not ranked by Rivals. That'll change. He'll get his ranking now that he's committed to Texas. But I like this pickup because 1 year after signing Diabell, you weren't going to go out and probably get a high-profile, top national guy, 5-star type guy. That's just not going to happen after KJ Lacey and Diabell. You needed a guy that kind of like Tai, under the radar a little bit, but you trust your evaluations. It's kind of like the year after Arch Manning. They go out and get Trey Owens, a guy who just wanted to be at Texas. Well, that didn't work out. It worked out okay for a little while, and then until it didn't, right? Yeah. Well, Ty's a guy who wants to be at Texas. He's not going to be afraid of competition. He's going to be patient. He's not going to come in, thinking, I got to start right away. He's probably not going to command a lot of NIL funds. So, and I think he's got a pretty high ceiling. Now, is he ever going to be a starter at Texas? I don't know. He might be. It might take a couple, 2-3 years, or he may just be a all-time backup, or he may be there a couple of years and then move on. We'll see what the future holds. But I think he has enough upside where he can be a contributor for this Texas team at quarterback in time. So I think it was a really good pickup for Texas.
Yeah, it's interesting for me, Jason, because I've alluded to I talked about this last week. I talked about this with Catch a little bit on Monday. When we get to that 2027 mark, Sark will still have a major decision to make after the season, and I always like to look for starters at all these other positions. And you and I talked about this last week. Even when I hear Todd, like, and KJ and Dia, is he going to say, hey, I'm willing to go through the growing pains of an inexperienced quarterback in 2027, Or he's just going to say, "Oh, I don't have to do that." And which, again, we've seen it done at receiver, we've seen it done at running back, we've seen it done at all other positions to a certain degree. Quinn Ewers, right? I mean, we want to factor that in. Quinn Ewers was a transfer quarterback because he needed a franchise guy. I still think after this season, and we got a long way to go, and I hear all these names, I still wonder though sometimes, Jason, at the end of the day, will Sark say, "This is great, I want to continue to develop these guys, but I need a quarterback that checks the boxes"?
Yeah, it's really fascinating. And like, I've kind of been swinging my pendulum the other way. Like, hey, I look at what Oregon does and Miami does, and it's worked well for them. Ohio State's doing it well. I mean, technically, you're right. Sometimes we forget that Quinn was a transfer, right? Because he was a Texas commit out of high school, but he was a transfer. So, a lot of that will probably depend on what they see from KJ Lacey and Diabell in the offseason and practices during the season and backup roles. If they think, okay, hey, we've really got something here. But, we've seen that happen before where they thought they really had something in a guy like Hudson Card, right?
Yeah.
And it didn't work out. So I'm kind of like you, like, hey, man, if there's a proven commodity out there in the transfer portal, especially if he's a multi-year guy, possibly, maybe you go that route. Hey, and you know what? And then if Diabell or, KJ Lacey beat him out, then that sucks for that guy. But hey, the best man won. Sorry. But, I don't know. It's going to be really fascinating. I feel like that's not really a strategy Sark has used, Quinn Ewers withstanding. I feel like he's gone out and more got like backups to kind of back up that starter in the portal. We saw him do it last year. We've seen him do it this year to some degree. Will he do a philosophical change where he's going to start getting starting quarterback play out of the portal? I don't know. I just almost have a hard time seeing Sark change his stripes in that way because he recruits high school quarterbacks so well. Yeah. And he trusts his evaluations so much, as he should. I mean, but Sark, I think more than most coaches, is probably willing to take those chances on high school guys and their development because he's done his whole career. He's developed quarterbacks. But I don't know. It's going to be a fascinating question to talk about this time next year.
All right, so let's get into it, Jason. So defensive players. Let's start up front. Some of the the names that we need to know. I don't care about anybody from another program that's over at Cedar Park. Okay, over here. I don't care about. I'm talking about the guys that you're saying. Okay, these are the hot names. Let's start on the defensive side of the ball. Do you want to go edge guys? Do you want to go interior? Which way do you want to go, Jason?
We can go edge and work our way in. They did pick up a commitment from Cameron Hall last week. I don't remember if we talked. I think that might have happened after we did your show last week because he committed like 2 a.m, I think Wednesday morning. So Cameron Hall out of Mansfield Summit, big 260 plus. He's an edge right now, but he's kind of growing into maybe more of an interior guy or a guy can do a little bit of both. And I was looking at it because I knew we were going to talk about it today, Omar. There aren't a lot of other edge players, like high-profile edge players that Texas is in on. It's funny because Kenny Baker extends a lot of offers, more on the interior than at edge. But, DJ Jacobs, the number one player, some will tell you in the country, he's already committed to Ohio State. There's a few others that Texas has offered, but nobody that's really high on Texas's radar in terms of like they're probably going to visit Texas. So I'm kind of curious to see what they do at edge. Do they just go with Cam Hall? They got Richie Wesley last year, so they can go in the portal and find some guys. So there's not a lot of meat on the bone at the edge position right now. And you got a guy like Cedric Marsh out of Waxahachie, but he's a 3-star lower rated guy. I mean, he's not the guy that's you're talking about, this can't miss, must have. I mean, he might end up being a great player. Nothing against Cedric Marsh, but there just aren't a lot of I feel like we're here to talk about the elite of the elite, and there aren't a ton of those guys for Texas at the edge position right now.
Okay, fair enough. And let me ask you this just real quick. What Cameron Hall, right? What's your take on him? Who did commit though as an edge guy? I've read kinds of different positions. I don't know what his eventual home is going to be, but give me your overall take on him though.
Yeah, I think he's underrated. He's a 4-star. I'm looking in the 24/7 composite, but I think couple of their services have him as a 3-star guy. I think he'll wind up being a 4-star guy, top 200 nationally type guy when it's all said and done. And he's got a good frame. Like I say, 6'3". People list him as 235. No. I saw him. He ain't 235. And he told me he's about 260, 265.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's probably going to play some interior defensive line as a senior in high school. That might carry over to Texas. But, really good player, intriguing player. I mean, A&M was after him. Some of the regional schools were after him. He's a guy that, honestly, he's been favoring Texas for months. And I thought he was going to commit at the junior day. He told me he was probably going to commit at the junior day. Then he decided not to. Then a few weeks later, he just kind of said, hey, man, I talked to my coach about it. And he said, hey, if you don't secure your spot, you might miss your spot. So he went ahead and locked up his spot. Actually, LeAllen Clark, the Texas edge coach, did an in-home visit with him, and he committed during that visit. So I think it's a really good pickup by Texas. I think he's a guy you're going to see climb the rankings. I do think he's classified as an edge. If he's 265 right now onward, he still has another year of high school. A year of high school if he graduates early, which he probably will. It's still another year. So I almost view him more as a guy that, hey, he can probably play some like strong side defensive end type thing, and he can play some, maybe not a true nose tackle, but a defensive tackle, shade off the center, off the guard, maybe a 3-eye type stuff. Is he going to be a pure Colin Simmons edge type? Probably not. I don't unless his body really leans out over the next year. I think you're going to see him kind of transition into some different roles.
So we move over to the linebacker position now, Jason.
We can talk about a couple interior defensive.
Interior. Okay, I was like, wait a second. I went blank for a second. Give me some of the interior.
Cameron Hall is a little bit of that, so we talked.
Yeah. No, that's fine, Jason. Give me some of the interior guys that we're looking at, and of course, with Muschamp in this system as well.
Yeah, the big one is Jalen Brewster out of Cedar Hill. He's committed to Texas Tech. I want to say maybe one recruiting service, and I might be wrong on this. I know they had him at number 1 in the country overall. I don't think he is anymore, but he's still top 5, top 10 in the country. He's committed to Texas Tech. Committed to Tech last fall. Let's be honest, Tech money whipped him. I mean, that's what Tech does.
Sure.
So, but Texas Tech did just lose, or not lose. They chose to not retain their defensive line coach. Well, Jalen Brewster is now saying, hey, that kind of changes things for me. I am no longer a solid commitment. I don't think he was a solid commitment before, but he's admitted now, like, hey, I'm not a solid commitment. Texas and some others are working on him. He doesn't say a whole lot. I've been trying to get in touch with Jalen and say, hey, is there any chance? And I think there is. I think there's a decent chance that he'll visit Texas for an official visit in June. But as of yet, nothing is confirmed or locked in. But, and if you're going to get Jalen Brewster, I mean, listen, Tech's going to change their defensive line coach. That money is not going to go away. So, I mean, you're still going to have to offer a big NIL package to get Jalen Brewster. So we'll see what Texas wants to do there. There's another guy that's kind of intriguing. Kasai Curry is his name. He's out of California. He came in for the junior day for Texas. He's a former high school teammate of Richard Wesley, who, of course, is yeah. Well, Kasai, Texas had offered him, but Texas wasn't really on his radar that much. Richie Wesley gets to Austin, and in like 2 weeks, he's like, dude, this is amazing here. You got to get here for a visit. So he changed his plans at the last minute and came in for that junior day visit. And I was able to talk to Kasai after that junior day, and he said, hey, man, Texas is like top 3 for me, right? All of a sudden, like went from like non-contender to solid top 3. I think it was LSU and I think Alabama were the other 2. So he's not a guy that's locked into staying in the West Coast. So he's an interesting guy. I mean, he's an interior defensive lineman, top 30-ish national type player. So, I mean, he's a 5-star, borderline 5-star type player, Anwar. He's told me, hey, I'll probably come back in the spring for another visit. Definitely will take an official visit. So I think Kasai Curry is a name to maybe know. Not maybe, definitely need to know. And if you're talking about him or Jalen Brewster, I don't know. Kasai Curry might come a little bit cheaper because Tech has already set a pretty high bar for Jalen Brewster. So, and there's another guy that Kenny Baker, his name is Benjarvius Shoemaker. He's out of Mississippi. Kenny Baker went out and saw him during the spring evaluation period, did an in-home visit. He's another national top 50-ish top guy. Sometimes those Mississippi State dudes are tough to get out of the state of Mississippi, out of Mississippi State or Ole Miss. But Kenny Baker's going to try with Benjarvius Shoemaker. We'll see if they can get him on campus for a visit.
Yeah, I mean, it's those are smaller cities, smaller towns, like, more family oriented. It's hard to. I totally get and understand that.
He's out of Ackerman, Mississippi, wherever that is.
Well, where some studs are. Well, let's go behind them, Jason. Linebackers. What do we got? I mean, it's always linebackers always that interesting position where it seems like it's always feast or famine as relates to that. It seems like you either get someone who's really good or you just get linebackers really tricky. It's like tight ends, right? It's really hard to find one of those guys. So what do you got from a linebacker position?
Yeah, and if I'm being honest, I hate to say famine, but it's more that direction than feast. They got Taylor Atkinson last year, right? So they did really well. Kosei Akbala, they recruited aggressively, spent aggressively. There's not a lot of those types this year. You got Cooper Witten, right? Who's, I think, the number one linebacker in the country, I think, on every ranking. But Texas isn't really in the mix there. I mean, Oklahoma, his dad's coaching at Oklahoma. Everybody seems to think that's where he's going to wind up. Tennessee, Texas A&M. He's mentioned Texas kind of in passing, but he hasn't visited. I don't know that he has any plans to. Okay. I just don't think Texas is really a factor there. Hey, you keep recruiting him, right, and hope something changes. But right now, there's not a lot there with Cooper Witten in Texas. They got a commitment from the Cade Hogg kid. Again, kind of underrated 3-star guy out of Kingwood, ultra productive. There's a couple other guys on more. Braylon Williams is a guy out of Arlington Lamar. Mm-hmm. He's kind of a 3-4-star type, low 4-star, high 3-star type. He's a player that Texas brought into the junior day. He's over the last year or so, he's run hot and cold. There was a time Texas was the team to beat. There was a time Texas kind of wasn't recruiting him. Now Will Muschamp's here and Johnny Nanson's picked it up again. So they seem to like Braylon Williams again. They brought him in. I talked to him this week. I haven't even written about him, but I'll have something on Orange Bloods today or tomorrow probably. Likes Texas a lot, but is keeping an open mind. And honestly, we'll see how aggressive Texas is in recruiting Braylon Williams moving forward. I think they're going to be aggressive because the fact that Muschamp wanted him at that junior day tells me something. But, again, it's kind of been up and down with Braylon Williams. There's another guy they just offered, Jaden Nelson, out of Langham Creek down in the Houston area. He's not ranked. He's like I think Rivals maybe has him as a 3-star. He's not ranked, but he's 6'3", 210, one of these hybrid big linebackers who can cover and things. Texas did offer him, did bring him in for an unofficial visit, and he's listing Texas as his favorite. So, he's got an official visit, I think, set up for late June. Again, how hard is Texas going to push here? I don't know, because they may find some higher rated or guys they like a lot better, but it's kind of similar. We talked about edge. You mentioned feast or famine. There's just not a lot of really high profile names out there that Texas is genuinely in on.
Well, the thing is, though, Jason, it would make sense to me because at the end of the day, Jason, that Texas they need a roster, and you can't pay everybody $2 million, $3 million. You're going to have a roster where you can get a guy for $40,000 or $50,000 or something like that. And so,
or nothing.
Or nothing, guys who are just happy to be here. And so I actually get it, Jason. It makes sense. All the sense.
It's just so weird, right? We're always used to no, you try to get 5 stars across the board, right? As many as you can. And now it's like, okay, cherry pick your 4 or 5-star guys. You'll get some other fairly highly ranked guys, but you're going to have the Jaden Nelsons and the Braylon Williams of the world, guys that don't cost a lot. But I don't know. It's just going to be a weird. We'll see. And this is still kind of new. We're still in the development of this. But is it going to be not just Texas? Everybody it's going to be. You're going to have a few real top heavy guys. Yeah, and then some bottom guys who don't cost as much, but you think you can develop them and they can help you out. I mean, it's a weird time, dude. And this is all new. I mean, listen, I don't know that the Texas coaches fully understand or know how this is going to look in 8 months or whatever, when these or 10 months when these guys sign their letters of intent. So it's
One guy explained it to me best. He said, "Look, if somebody from UT said if we paid every guy, we would have an $85 million roster. Okay, you just can't pay everybody, and at some point, so all of it makes sense as they start figuring out NILs and all these kind of things. So let's move to the secondary, Jason, because we'll do two last things we get out of here. Secondary and special teams. Because you and I both know a kid might be a cornerback in high school, but he's projected to be a safety in college. And so, they kind of become interchangeable. So, but this is, what from that part, Texas always goes after the elite guys. They usually get a lot of, what about these DBs?
Yeah, now that's one group where there's a lot of names. There are a lot of options, and we'll have to see how the pieces come together, who Texas closes on. I mean, you said it like, how much are they going to pay and which guys are they going to offer big money to? That's going to make a difference. Yeah. Mike Torres in the chat, just the first name I was going to bring up. John Meredith, who's now at North Crowley. I mean, he's the number one player in the country, I think, per the Rivals industry rankings. Big, lengthy corner. Texas is in the hunt there for sure. And there was a time Texas was, and then they weren't, and now they're kind of creeping back up. But they weren't able to get him on campus this spring. There was some thought that he might come to the junior day in January. He didn't make it. Some of his teammates did. The next weekend, he ended up going to Alabama for their junior day event. So Alabama and Texas A&M are the two teams to beat there. Texas is trying to close the gap with John Meredith, a big five-star outside cornerback. And we've heard, hey, they're going to be ultra aggressive there, quote unquote, do whatever it takes. Now, so will A&M and Alabama and some other schools will be that way as well. So, Ohio State's in the race there too. So it's going to be some pretty heavy competition, but Texas will definitely go after John Meredith. A guy that I've talked about him on Orange Bloods a lot, but I don't think his name's ever come up on your show. He was a Navy All-American. He's out of California, named Duve Williams. Again, top 45-ish type player in the country. Some people think maybe West Coast, maybe he'll stay out west. But in talking to Duve, when I've talked to him, he's like, that's not completely true at all. I'm open to going anywhere. He visited Texas like seriously. It was like in 8th grade or something. So it's been 2 or 3 years. He does tell me, he's told me repeatedly, no, I will be coming back to Texas for a visit either this spring or an official visit. We'll see. I mean, I'm looking at Georgia, Southern Cal, Texas A&M, again, is heavily involved there. So another top national player, a guy that I think if Texas could get him on campus, again, I'm kind of throwing that first visit away. I think Texas would have a real shot there. Texas recruits California pretty well. Just knowing what I know of Duve's personality, I think it would fit in with the culture at Texas. So Duve Williams, those are two out-of-state, or one out-of-state guy to know. Montre Jackson is a guy out of Lakeview Centennial up in the Dallas area. Texas offered him. He's a speed guy, runs track really well. I think he ran I don't have it in front of me, like a 10.27 or something like that. So, I mean, this dude can do, and didn't get out of his region, by the way. That's how fast track times are in the Dallas area in the state of Texas. Didn't make it to the state.
That's crazy.
In that track time. Are you kidding me?
We know running track in Texas is a different beast.
It really is. Yeah, some states he would have won state by like a half a second, probably. Yeah. But Montre came to the Texas Junior Day. He just dropped, I think it was top 8, and Texas was in it. But he's been pretty open and saying, hey, Texas is his number one school. So that would be a nice pickup for Texas, as a speed outside cornerback guy. The guy's still developing as a football player, but he's got the tools. I mean, he's every bit of 6'1". Again, I mean, sub 4.4 speed in the 40-yard dash. Again, I got a lot of names I pulled up for DBs. Danny Lang is an elite DB out of California at a modern day powerhouse program. Texas has offered him. Hasn't visited, but he always talks about Texas. So we'll see. Maybe he's a guy that can get on campus. Gabriel Osborne's a player out of Oklahoma who really likes Texas, and he's a really good player. He's a cornerback. But it's kind of like Oklahoma's pushing there. So, again, are you going to be able to get him away from Oklahoma? might be tough. I think Texas will get him in for a visit, but I don't know if they'll be able to get him away from Oklahoma. Some in-state guys, Talon Mayo out of Louisville, big, lengthy, like 3', 6'4", a guy who can play cornerback. He can play nickel. He can play safety. If Texas pushes there, and he's pretty open. I mean, I've talked to him recently. He likes Texas a lot, but says, hey, I'm pretty open. But if Texas pushes there, Anwar, I would maybe call the Longhorns a team to beat. And he's right around, borderline top 100 national player. So really good player. Someone mentioned Eli Johnson. He's already committed to Ohio State. And then Jerry Outhouse is another guy out of North Crowley, a teammate of John Meredith's, who visited Texas for the junior day. He likes Texas a lot, but he likes Texas Tech a lot. So he's visited Texas Tech a couple times. Anytime Tech's involved, I'm like, okay, this could come down to money. We'll see how aggressive Texas Tech wants to be with Jerry Outhouse. Greedy James, I even talked about. He's a Texas commitment out of Manville. A little bit underrated. He's a 3-star guy, but he's a big guy who can play safety. He can play some cornerback, got a good frame. And then two others I'll mention. I know I'm blowing through a lot of names pretty quickly.
No, that's all good. I love it.
There's one out of California. He's a safety, and I'm going to probably butcher this, but it's Honor Fa'alave Johnson. One of the most dynamic players, regardless of positions, in college football recruiting in the 2027 cycle. He actually likes Texas a lot. I need to try to find a way to get in touch with him. I don't know that he's been to Austin, or maybe he came. Sometimes these guys will come as a big group trip, like part of their 7-on-7 team will stop by. But he really likes Texas a lot. And I don't know, getting him away from USC might be tough. Alabama's in there. But he does like Texas, and I think Texas will get him in town for an official visit. So he's a 5-star player, so file that name away. We'll see if Texas can close there. And the other one is Jaquan Snell out of Waxahachie, who's committed to Texas A&M. We'll see if Texas can get back involved there. He's a safety. Texas was kind of right there in the mix before he committed to A&M. Well, now you got Blake Gideon back. Does that help Texas? I don't know. I haven't talked to Jaquan yet, so I don't know the answer to that. But we'll see if Texas can try to get him back on campus, maybe get in the mix there. He's a really, really good player, 5-star type player out of Waxahachie, so not too far from Austin.
I was going to say that's at least 2 Waxahachie names you've mentioned today, Jason. So
that's a good program up there they got going. Yeah.
All right. Last but not least, special teams, punter. We're going to punter, kicker, long snapper. You got what do we got, Jason?
I've got nothing for you, Omar. Nothing. So far, Jeff Banks has not offered anybody. It's pretty early, but I haven't heard that they're talking to guys about preferred walk-ons, or if they're even doing that anymore, whatever you call it anymore. They just took a punter and a kicker and a deep snapper last year on full scholarship.
Yeah.
I don't think you do that in back-to-back years.
Yeah.
So right now, I haven't heard anything on the special teams front. We'll see if that changes.
Jeff withdrawals right now. Jason is like, I gotta vote for somebody. It's calling me, man. All right, Jason, go ahead and get out of here. I know we got a meeting soon, and I'll see you at noon, okay?
Okay, man. I'll see you soon.
All right, brother. Jason Sucamel, orangebloods.com. One day, Jeff Banks is going to be like, tired of your jokes. All right, guys, let me get out of here. I'm going to hit the road, get back to Austin, be back for the noon show. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. I saw a lot of you guys in the chat. I did not see Rodolfo this morning, though. I saw Court, I saw Nate, of course, I saw Stephanie as always, and Drew, and of course Mike Torres, and I don't want to forget Tashawn and T-Cox. I'm just going to name all of you, and my man Kavazuma in DC. I didn't see Rodolfo, nor did I see Money Bonus Check on both of those, and everybody make sure that those people are okay. All right, it is Tuesday, February 10th. Go out, enjoy yourself, have a fantastic day. Remember, I always say, live each day like it's your last. One day it will be. Money B is here. All right, I just wanted to check on you. Money B, just know that no one cares, Money B. Just know your cares, because I didn't see you. I just want to make sure you was all right. Text, but all right, see, you guys were here. I didn't see you. Just know I care about y'all. I care about y'all. I just want to make sure you guys are all good. Work. Well, I guess I'm working technically too. All right, go out back here at noon. You guys take care. I'll definitely be safe on those roads. No stopping that bucket.